What is up, gamers? Staxwell's back at it again today with another meta breakdown. This time we are doing the Arcane Games Open Series that happened in Los Angeles this weekend. It was like a 70-player event, I think, somewhere around there, 67, 70, something like that. Here was the hero breakdown, KO being the most represented hero in the room. Makes sense off of the back of Yuki's performance the weekend prior. A lot of people very high on the hero, followed by Bravo, which was like the kind of titan of the last format. As always, the California competition is super fierce. There are no free wins at this tournament at all. Everyone in the room definitely knows what they're doing. Definitely solid players everywhere. And as always, a fantastically professional event ran by the guys at Arcane Games. Huge shout out to them. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into the deck list here. There was only one of the KOs converted. If you remember, 11 KOs in the tournament. There was only 67 players in the tournament. So yeah, like 1/6 of the room was on KO and only one of them converted. Kind of interesting. It didn't perform as well as we thought it would. And this one is very similar to Yuki's list that we've seen with the runners and the agile windups, bear fangs, wild ride, like all the stuff we're used to seeing. Even the two reckless swings. This list in particular was sporting the 3 humbles for the mirror match, no fear for the Bravo matchup, I imagine, and then playing the heart and cross strap, which is the chess piece of choice for the aggro matchups for the mirror particularly. But my chess piece of choice is Into the AM. Check it out, guys. Got kind of an Oldham vibe to it, if you guys couldn't have put it together by now. This is the tee that I'm wearing. It's the Fireforge tee. It actually goes kind of hard. My girlfriend just complimented me on it earlier. I like it a lot. They've got a bunch of other cool graphic tees as well. Like you could see, these two kind of have like a Ninja Katsu kind of vibe to them. I like them a lot. They do have a lot of space stuff as well. I'm more of a fan of like the grounded in reality stuff. So they have like this like more nature themed tee here. I like that one a lot. Actually, I'm probably going to put this one in my cart here. But yeah, they also have basic tees, so like just have like a tiny logo on them, which are just super comfortable, by the way. And they have like the tee packs. The packs are up to 30% off right now. And even better, I haven't even gotten to the best part yet. If you use promo code Staxwell, you get 10% off all of this. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment down below. So go ahead, click that, get yourself a banger chess piece. Now back to the video. Kind of just nets you a whole nother card. You're not going to get as much value out of Tunic because neither player is really looking to block in that matchup. And then, of course, playing the AB3 with No Rune Gloves and Skullhorn. A lot of Kanos in California. A lot of Kanos in this meta in general, but particularly in California. I don't know what it is. Just, yeah, West Coast loves Kano. But yeah, so pretty standard list compared to Yuki's, I would say. Top 8, Zane Johnson. Aelia player out of California. Very strong Aelia player. Even when I think Aelia is like not well positioned or kind of a bad deck or something like that, you could kind of count on Zane Johnson and prove me wrong and get a top 8 with the hero. He has a few changes. He did top 8 last month as well, and he's made a few changes to the deck since then. Last time it kind of seemed like he was a bit teched out to beat the DROMAI matchup. He had a bit more poppers in it last time. Whereas this time it kind of seems like he's leaning the list a little bit more towards beating Guardians with 2 Release the Tensions. 3 Fatigue Shot. I think he only played 2 last time. And he's playing 3 Sync, 1 Fate Foreseen. Kind of seems like he's over losing 2 Guardian. And yeah, like I said, a bit teched out to beat that. Only 2 Endless Arrows, which is a very good card against DROMAI. So, like I said, a bit kind of like, I don't want to say like sleeping on DROMAI, but just not being as teched out for it. Only 1 Battering Bolt, just less poppers overall. He's got 2 Sleep Dart in here. While this is very good against DROMAI, I think this is more for KO. If you're able to turn off KO's hero ability, all of his like discarded blue cards are now 5s again, and they kind of don't turn on a lot of stuff. Denies him a Might token. You get a lot of mileage out of Sleep Dart in the KO matchup. I imagine that's what he's playing these for. Judge, Jury, Executioner, obvious upgrade from an obvious upgrade from heavy hitters that Aelia gets. He's also rocking, 3 Deadeye, so it seems like he's kind of leaning into the aim counters with this deck. But I won't say it's like super different from the Aelia we're used to seeing. A lot of the same cards, just like, with the new Judge, Jury, and Executioner. And then, yeah, a bit teched out for the Guardian matchup, which makes sense. Victor's a very popular deck. Bravo's a very popular deck. taking up, 13 spots in the room. I think it was a good meta call, and it landed him a top 8, so fantastic performance from him. Next up is Colin Erickson sporting the Kasai. Kasai is such a good hero. I kind of slept on her, I'm not going to lie. And this hero is just so good versus Guardian. I think that's like kind of the reason to play her. As a Bravo player, I don't understand how to beat her. And when I was at the tournament, I was asking some of the other much more like pro Bravo players. I'm like, how do you beat Kasai? Like, what am I doing wrong? What's the strat? And then you know what they told me? They're like, oh, I've never beat Kasai. So kind of funny stuff there. But yeah, if you're struggling a lot into Guardian, I would definitely recommend picking up Kasai and kind of trying to target that, learn this hero, learn its ins and outs, and get yourself some free wins on Guardian. It's so hard to beat it because it kind of feels like they're going back and forth with you on life, on card advantage. You're not like getting anything on them, and it's like a pretty kind of even game. And then out of nowhere, they just activate Raisin Army and then get 3 Cell Swords, or they activate Blood on our hands. And it's not like you could just never give them a gold token because you just don't have enough D-Reacts in current Bravo builds. We'll get into that later because Charles Dunn did kind of enter with a very different Bravo deck. But the current iterations of Bravo, it is so hard to fight this. And I would say what's different about this Kasai list compared to others, but Kasai is still such a new hero. I would kind of have to go over every card. A few notable things, though, is he didn't play Crown of Providence, and he only played Balance of Justice. Well, not only. I mean, he also played Crown of Dominion. This was probably for the Guardian matchup, just to make the free gold, get yourself a free Cell Sword at some point. But yeah, Balance of Justice was probably what he was playing in 99% of his matchups, I would imagine. Still playing AB3, a lot of Kano in California, so very smart there. And then opting to go with the Iron Song Versus over the over the Brave Forge Bracer. Sorry about that. On Hot Streak, 1 Centauri Saber, and I could say from experience, as a Guardian, Hot Streak is like the most annoying card ever. It's almost like you just can't block it, and you're going to take 2 every single turn for the whole game. It's kind of annoying. You only have a handful of non-attack actions in Guardian. So Hot Streak at some point is just always live or always leaking too. Notably is there's no Grains of Blood Spill here either. He's going with Tunic and Courage of Bladehold. And I think the Tunic is to support the Steel Blade Shunt. He's probably taking a more defensive stance with this deck. He's got 5 Steel Blade Shunts, Sink Belows. The Tunic also turns on the Oasis Respite on your opponent's turn, Fate Foreseen. He's got a ton of defensive cards. I think that's what he's going for. I did walk over to this player a couple times in the tournament, and he was always going into time, a couple cards left in his deck. So I'm sure he went the distance and grinded a lot of those matches out. And that's probably what the Tunic is for, is to play this as more of a slow kind of deck, a slow mid-rangey kind of thing. He's even got the Heart of Fandal in there. And you're not playing Heart unless you're planning on going to 3rd, 4th, 5th cycle. But yeah, I mean, I can't say this isn't standard, right? Because we just don't know what standard Kasai looks like. This could just be normal moving forward. But yeah, as it stands, this is a very powerful deck. If you're ever wondering if Kasai is good enough and if it's worth picking up, absolutely yes it is. It's such a good deck. And then speaking of Kano, one of them did make it into the top 8. I did look over this list and nothing seems too out of the ordinary to me. The only thing I've seen is just he's playing the 3 of Blue Aether Arc, the new majestic blue card from Heavy Hitters. But yeah, that's almost, I mean, that's just not super relevant, right? So pretty standard Kano list here. Kano is just actually just a good hero. Yeah, don't cut down on your AB. Don't think you won't see the Kano. Don't think you're not gonna be that guy who runs into it, because you will be. Kano will get you every time you think that. Top 4, we had a Teklo Vossen. Yeah, Teklo Vossen. The only reason he fell in top 4 was just because he played against a DROMAI. I seriously think this player, Connor Davenport, definitely could have took the whole tournament had the gem pairings just been a little bit more favorable for him. He was an absolute menace all weekend. A few interesting things to note about his deck is he had the Plasma Pistol and the Double Induction Chamber in his list. This was probably to be able to support the AB3 because he had Visiatronic and Achilles Accelerator, so he can do 2 Evos and then try and Fatigue or Pistol or something like that. I mean, you just can't play Teklo Leveler and only 2 Evos and expect to win that game. So he's probably just like throwing either big attacks or an induction pistol at his opponent and hoping that that's enough to get there. It's also good into the DROMAI matchup. It gives you like some game, right? Being able to clear dragons with the pistol, and hopefully you just have enough poppers and remembrances to fatigue them out. Another interesting thing is that he's playing 3 Hold the Line. Hold the Line is kind of an interesting card because it would take such a specific deck for it to be good, right? The deck has to be drawing 2 cards in a turn, and then it almost has to be like an aggressive deck where you would like where the extra block would be justified enough to make you want to include this in your deck, you know? And KO kind of fills that role perfectly. Like you want the extra block against KO. KO's drawing 2 cards a turn. So it makes total sense that Hold the Line is in there. It's also like, it also just so happens to be good against other heroes, like the ninjas and things like that. 2 Warmonger's Diplomacy, good against, you know, Aelia, Max, Runeblade. Seems like it'd be very good into Kasai. I haven't personally tried that yet, but it seems like it would be super solid. Yeah, it seems like a relatively standard deck outside of all of that stuff that I mentioned. Most of them do play the extra base set, so they could re-equip if like Tumultai or something blows one of them up. Going 3 Terminator, 3 War Machine, and then 2 Annihilator engines. Some of them cut down on the Annihilator engines. Going with the Junkyard Dogs. They always play like some kind of way to scrap, and Junkyard Dog is just like the best stats for that. So yeah, this list makes a lot of sense. 3 Fate, 3 Sync. Looks like he was just kind of blocking up, evoing up. Singularity was probably his main win condition throughout the tournament. And yeah, seems like a very solid deck. Also in top 4, we had a Darthia. It was a Switchblade Darthia, so they played both Dawnblade and Decimator Great Axe. One thing to note is that they played Crown of Providence and no Balance of Justice. No Balance of Justice whatsoever. Again, playing Iron Song Versus and not playing Braveforged Bracers. This is a trend that I am noticing more and more as I look at more of these deck lists. Kind of crazy. I thought Braveforged Bracers would be better just because of the Battle Worn. But yeah, Courage Token is probably a little bit better than just giving your next weapon attack +1. E3, I think everyone in California just has like absolute respect for Kano. No one is ever shutting down on this stuff. AB3 feels like it's in every list. Humble is getting more and more popular. I think this is only because of KO. It is a very good card against KO. Being able to deny their discards and stuff. We've kind of already talked about it. Commanding Performance only at 2. A lot of people probably thought this card would be way better than it is. I was one of them. I mean, I thought it would be just a staple 3 of in every warrior, but I guess not. This Darthia is also playing the Tunic, or probably the Steel Blade Shunts and the 3 Oasis Respites. Yeah, this is probably for when the Darthia decides to transition into the Decimator plan. It'll play Tunic, 3 Oasis, all the Shunts, and then like, you know, the Sinks and things like that, I imagine. And that's probably like the plan against KO. 3 Command and Conquer. This is probably like more just a popper than anything, but it incidentally does combo very well with the Courage tokens from Iron Song Versus. This list is even playing the red Overpower. I think this is kind of spicy. I don't personally see this line Darthia decks. I don't know. Do you guys? Let me know if I'm wrong. And then 2 Shift the Tide of Battle. Also not a super popular one, but it's nice to see this making its way into lists. And then 1 red Stroke the Foresight. Probably just as a target to search off a Singing Steel Blade. And then 2 Emboldened Blade to kind of try and target some of those more fatiguey D-reaction based decks. I'm not sure it's the best call because Victor is so popular and Victor doesn't really play D-reacts. He plays like block cards, right? I think Standing Order is in here for the Decimator plan, being able to carry over a block and, you know, tuck something to the bottom. But yeah, there you go. The Switchblade list probably plays Grains every other time, but Tunic with the Decimator, Grains with the Dawnblade. It's a cute little Switchblade list. I like it a lot, actually. Moving on, we have Charles Dunn, our current national champion, got 2nd place with Oldham. I'm just kidding. It's not Oldham. It looks like Oldham, though. This is Bravo. He plays so much D-Reacts in it. Look, 3 Fate Foreseen, 3 Oasis, Imperial Warhorn, 3 Sigil, 2 Unmovable, 3 Sink Below, 3 Hold the Line. There's just so much, and we're 9 Staunch Responses. This deck is crazy defensive, which is exactly what we'd expect out of Charles Dunn. Definitely not expecting anything else out of him. It looks like he's only playing AB2, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if he ran into any Kanos. I can't imagine that matchup is winnable. That's probably why he only plays AB2. He probably plays AB2 into DROMAI, though, knowing that they want to Tumultai one of your no rune pieces. Just being able to have two makes that matchup easier to fatigue. I imagine that Kano is so unwinnable, he just didn't even want to play AB3. That's kind of just like you'll scoop to that deck kind of thing. Playing Anothos and Titan's Fist. Probably playing an Anothos in the matchups you want to race, or in the Guardian Mirror, something like that. Whereas most of the time he's on Rampart of the Ram's Head along with Titan's Fist. Rampart is good because you often have floating resources because, you know, you pitch a blue, play Staunch for 2, and then with the third resource get a block out of Rampart. So with a blue and a Staunch, you're blocking, what, 7, 8? So it turns 2 cards both into Sink Below value. That's pretty good stuff. 2 Remembrance even, bring it back poppers, and then Hold the Line we've kind of already talked about. I think it's creeping back into the meta right now, which is interesting because the price has gone down and yet the playability has gone up. So that could hit a critical mass at some point in the future. If you don't have a playset, the card is really cheap right now. Don't wait until the price goes back up. I think it's a good time to pick this up if you haven't. Warmongers, again, I think it's probably very good into Warrior. But yeah, I mean, this is like kind of standard-ish considering it's just like the most, like it's just fatigue, right? You know what I mean? Nothing too out of the ordinary outside of it itself being out of the ordinary, if that makes any sense. All right, moving on to our champion here. We have Grant Storm. Shout out to Grant. Huge congrats for taking it down with DROMAI. DROMAI had such a terrible performance at the Battle Hard in Hartford that everyone kind of slept on her. And my boy Grant came in and took advantage of everyone sleeping and showed the world that DROMAI is still very powerful. Rocking the Mage Master boots. Last time we seen DROMAI have any amount of success, which was like at the Realm Rumble and stuff like that, DROMAI was playing Mage Master boots then, so it makes sense that this is still like kind of the best build going forward. Mage Master boots and Ghostly Touch give you some kind of end game plan against like Bravo and stuff, being able to flash out your passing Mirage and then have a big turn. Well, not flash it, but you know what I mean. Give it go again, play it, and then have a big turn. Seems like powerful stuff. Silken Form and Seeker's Mitts is a little bit weird. I imagine Silken Form is probably just for the mirror. Being able to get ahead 1 Ashwing is actually kind of a big deal, weirdly enough. Dominion, 1 Crown of Dominion, 1 Crown of Providence is probably like a matchup specific or like going first, going second kind of thing. If you're going first, you definitely want the gold token to be able to create that Ash. If you're going against Bravo or something that's threatening your arsenal constantly, definitely need Crown of Providence because you're trying to set up, right? You're trying to set up like your Tome of Fendal, your passing Mirage, you know, Mage Master Boots combo. You can't have them destroying that with CNC. So you do kind of need Crown of Providence specifically in this deck. 3 Cadaverous Contraband. This card is pretty much exclusively for the DROMAI mirror. Not only is it a popper, but being able to use it to attack a dragon, clear a dragon, any of them, particularly Uvia. It has enough attack to kill an Uvia, and then being able to put, you know, a good dragon in the matchup, like Asvala is very strong, Uvia is very strong. Being able to put one of those back on the top of your deck is kind of insane in DROMAI, so it makes sense that he's playing this. Yeah, probably just for the mirror. Dust from the Chrome Caverns. I have slept on for way too long and I am woken up. This card is actually insane in popper matchups. Like if you're not playing it, absolutely give it a shot. I wasn't a believer until being on the Bravo side of this card. Yeah, it kind of changes my mind completely. He's got a decent amount of blues in here as well. 2 Dust Up and 3 Passing Mirage, which I mean, I guess isn't like a lot, but it's 2 more than most people play. Probably just to get off that Mage Master Ghostly Touch combo. Since Ghostly Touch costs 3 to swing, it's kind of weird, right? You need like to pitch a card to activate Mage Masters. Then you need to play this, so you're losing out on a blue there. And then you need to pitch a blue to be able to play out Ghostly Touch. So yeah, you kind of need like 1 or 2 more blues to make that combo happen. And that's exactly what he's doing here. He is shedding down on a couple important cards. Sand Cover, he's only playing 2 of. Sigil of Solace, he's only playing 2 of. He did manage to fit a Remembrance in here, probably for like the Mirror and for Bravo. It is kind of an important card. He's also notably playing not Sand Cover, he's playing no Oasis Respite. Oasis Respite, insane card versus a lot of decks, versus Aelia, versus Kano, versus Bravo. There's so many decks that are just like trying to kill you quickly. particularly kill you with evasion like Aelia is, right? So not too many ways to mitigate that, really just sand cover, 3 sync, and 3 fate forcing, which is still good, don't get me wrong. It's just interesting, like the cards he chose to cut down on to be able to make room. I just kind of want to highlight that stuff. He's also only playing 1 Miraging Metamorph. Miraging Metamorph is an insane card, but only really when it's not a popper format. If everyone has 3 pop, or if everyone has a billion poppers in their deck, Miraging Metamorph just doesn't. It's just like you pitch a card, you play this, and you get popped. It's your 2 cards for their 1 card. It doesn't feel great. It would feel nice if you're like making a copy of an aura, but that likely isn't happening most of the time. And then, yeah, of course, the Toma Fendal to combo with the Mage Master boots. That kind of goes without saying. Also interestingly enough, is playing 2 Billowing Mirage. Honestly, it's probably like he probably cut down 2 Miraging Metamorph to play the Billowing Mirage just because he was so sick of getting popped all the time. He wanted some damage that wasn't gonna get popped. That's my guess. I don't know, but that's kind of where I am with the deck too. But yeah, not the most like insanely out there deck or anything. He did have quite a few interesting choices in there though that I did want to go over. So yeah, there's our AGE champion. There's a couple bonus deck lists that got top 16 that I kind of want to go over very quickly. One of them was Prism. This Prism was playing the Angel's Glow Luminaris and then the Vestures of Soul. Same kind of list that just topped the battle, or that just won the Battle Hardened in, what was it, Liverpool, I think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But these Vestures of Soul decks also like to play 3 Toma Divinity. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to give this deck some recognition, put it on screen, let everyone know that people are definitely cooking with Prism, and to kind of have a game plan into it, kind of have a couple reps into it. Nothing too out of the ordinary compared to like from this deck to the deck that just topped. 3 Celestial Cataclysm is kind of weird. I don't know if the other deck played that or not, but Herald of Triumph is like kind of an insane card, especially against KO, because all of KO stuff is 6, right? And then when it's on the combat chain as a defending card, it no longer gets the +1 from KO. So Herald of Triumph like low-key carries that matchup in a good way. And then yeah, AB2 Spell Void 2 gives you a good, I mean, this deck already has an insane Kano matchup, but that just kind of makes it even better, I guess. Last deck I did want to go over again in the top 16 is this Katsu deck from Tyler Horsepool. Shout out to Tyler. Few interesting things in here. He's playing even bigger than that, which kind of fell out of favor recently. But you kind of just need to go faster than your opponents in this meta, particularly with so many KOs walking around. KO isn't like the best deck at blocking since he has a lot of no blocks. He is like pretty comfortable blocking with 2 cards in hand. But Katsu is pretty good at making you block with more than 2 cards, right? So even bigger than that just helps you go that much quicker. Ancestral Empowerment makes it even more annoying to block. As a KO player, you kind of have to like perfect block things. Ancestral Empowerment push you over the edge, get you your mass trigger, replaces itself. Like this card does a lot of carrying in those decks that aren't like insane at blocking. And then the new cards are in here as well. 3 Ancestral Harmony and then 2 Tenacity. I did talk to Tyler over the weekend and he was pretty high on this card, on Tenacity. So I imagine a lot of people are going to start playing that moving forward. So if you're playing against Katsu, just kind of be wary of Tenacity the whole time. Going crazy with the bonds, even playing the blue bonds, which is like not typical in Katsu, I don't think. So it's kind of interesting to see that. And he definitely also had a plan against the Guardians as well with 3 Flick Flack and 2 Reinforce the Line. Overall, a pretty interesting deck here. Oh, also playing 1 Salt the Wound for his Mask of the Pouncing Leagues plan when he is on it, I'm sure. Yeah, pretty cool stuff here. Pretty cool event. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, rate, subscribe, and help the algorithm help me out just a little bit later, gamers.